we have some Twins news, and we always have Twins rumors. Let's get to the actual news and see what Roy and LaVelle think about it all here at Chin Music, our baseball show at TalkNorth.com. This is Talk North Town. We're coming from the Aquarius Home Services studio.
It's Scott for Aquarius Home Services. Yep, Jack Frost is back, and he's not just nipping at your nose. He's eyeing your furnace and those leaky faucets, too. Don't let him crash your holidays. Call Aquarius and get $98 off any plumbing or furnace repair. Enjoy your holidays and let Aquarius take care of your home service needs. Schedule today at AquariusHomeservices.com. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended.
Hey, this is Randy Shaver. Along with Kevin Gorg, we host the show Fantasy Huddle on Talk North. Each week, we're going to break down the matchups for the NFL season and try to give you the best chance to win your fantasy football games each and every week. Join us for Fantasy Huddle on Talk North.
And the show is presented to you by OnX Maps. We'll tell you about them and our other sponsors here in a little bit. Best way to listen to this show or any show at the network, please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. We have 3 Vikings shows, Russo and LaPanta on hockey, Krasinski on the Wolves, Don Mitchell, Mark Rosen, Randy Shaver on high school football, a fantasy football show. It's a blast with Gorg and Shaver. Check it all out. We do appreciate it. We also have outdoor content. Today, the lineup is Roy Smalley, former Twins star and broadcaster, LaVelle Neal III, baseball guru and columnist at the Star Tribune. I'm Jim Souhan, also columnist at the Star Tribune and with TalkNorth.com. Let's get to it here. So this is exactly the kind of move that's going to drive Twins fans crazy, even though it's just an obvious procedural move. They trade a AAA infielder who wasn't going to make it to the big leagues with them for Alex Jackson, a backup catcher who hasn't hit yet. And they're going to play Ryan Jeffers more, which I think is good. And Jackson's going to be a cheaper version of Vasquez. LaVelle, tell us about the deal and what you think of it.
Well, they needed a backup catcher. And I agree with you that I have no problems with Ryan Jeffers having a bigger load next year. I think he's earned it. He's got potential offensively. He's capable defensively. He is someone who should be starting out 60, 70% of the time, or whatever's considered normal for today's usage of catchers. I think Jeffers has earned that. But they needed a backup. They weren't bringing back Christian Vasquez. Christian Vasquez wants to continue his career, to be honest with you. And so they needed a backup catcher. And, fans are going to go bananas because they're like, well, this is a nobody. But most backup catchers are nobodies. And most of them have like 550 OPSs. That's why they're backups. He's supposed to be able to catch and throw and, just spell the starter every now and then. You can't find too many Mike Redmonds who could come in and back up Joe Mauer and still, bat like 280, 290 if in the reserve row. So, and Jackson, I believe, was a former, high first round pick, I think 6 overall one year. Mm-hmm. And he just has not reached his offensive potential. People thought that he had a little bit of hitting potential. Definitely with some pop. I noticed he has 5 homers and 91 plate appearances last year. But high strikeout rate, low walk rate, that doesn't translate well if you're an everyday player. So he fits the profile of a backup catcher. So this move had to be made. I was really rooting for Peyton Eales to be promoted to the majors with the Twins. It's a great story. Former scout Billy Milos, found him playing in like a suburban Chicago league, and the Twins were shorthanded in the organization for infielders. And Billy, turned him on to Peyton, who's only like 5 feet 5 inches tall, and he found a way to, be on the cusp of being in the majors. He's probably going to be called up during the season next year. He doesn't hit for power, but he knows his strike zone well, and he makes contact. So he's functional middle infield type. So, there's a group there at St. Paul called the Milos 5 guys there who were either discovered or signed by Billy Milos. And that include like Randy Dobnak and Carson McCusker, who got called up earlier this year. So just imagine the pictures of the 6'9" McCusker standing next to the 5'5", Peyton Eales. So it was pretty funny. So good luck to him. I hope he ends up realizing his major league dream, because he's taking the long road to get the opportunity, and maybe he'll get it with the Orioles. So necessary move for the Twins because they needed a backup catcher. Unfortunately, they had to give up a guy who would have ended up being a pretty good human interest story if he got called up.
Yes. All right. Now let's get to the Twins have filled out their coaching staff since we last talked. Obviously, the most familiar name is Toby Gardenhire. Keith Beauregard they get from the Tigers, who seem to help a lot of the Tigers hitters, grow up. But LaVelle, take us through the staff and what you think of that.
Yeah. Beauregard, he was with Detroit for a few years, which means he probably overlapped with James Rowson, I believe. And so if you can't hire James Rowson, I guess you might as well find someone who may have some of his theories and his philosophies about hitting. And you see guys like Riley Green and McKinstry and Cole, what's his name? The infielder there, high draft pick. I can't remember his name, but there's some guys over there with Detroit who flourished last year. And so whatever he's telling them obviously has worked. The Tigers offense was pretty functional last year. A bunch of guys got over the hump. Javi Baez, has become an incredible player again after he moved to the outfield. So, he deserves some credit there. I like Toby Gardenhire as a minor league infield coach or whatever, major league field coordinator. Sorry.
Yes.
He has seen a lot of guys come up through the system and gone through St. Paul, and they know him and he knows them. And I'm sure that doesn't hurt. And, Toby's been in the minors long enough. He was with the Saints for several years. He's fought the good fight. He's paid his dues. And so it's time. So it's going to be pretty cool to see a Gardenhire jersey on the field at Tiger Field this year. Couldn't be happier for the guy. I remember when he was, a college kid, finished his career at the University of Illinois, ILL, then ended up having, a little bit of a minor league career. But just really neat for him that he's taking a long road here to get to the majors. It's his time. I'm glad that Pete Mackey's back. I think Pete Mackey's a very capable pitching coach. He's very smart. Sounds like he blends analytics and psychology, the right blend there to kind of connect with all the pitching staff, all the members of the pitching staff there. So, God, I'm trying. Who else did they add here?
I'll read out the rest of the staff. They got Mark Hallberg as assistant bench coach. Mike Rubello is, bench coach Mike Hallberg, assistant bench coach, catching coach Mike Rubello, hitting coach Keith Beauregard, field coordinator Toby Gardenhire. Last week we talked about LaTroy Hawkins and Grady Sizemore.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Grady Sizemore works out. I didn't even know he was interested in a career as coaching until he got hired by he ended up being appointed interim manager of the White Sox. I didn't even know where Grady was until they had to make a move with the manager in Chicago. He ended up managing a few games. So Cleveland guy, Cleveland connection. So probably knows Derek Falvey, probably knows Derek Shelton. So there's your connection there. So I don't mind that at all. I mean, I'm really fired up about LaTroy Hawkins joining the organization. I think just the path his career took, going from a pitcher who didn't know how to throw a strike and to becoming a really reliable reliever, asset to every club he's been to, wisdom, experience. He's got a lot he can provide to the pitchers on that staff, man. I just think that's a big hire for the Twins. I think he's going to be great. To have him back, number 32 back on the field too. Fans will be fired up about that. Hallberg, very interesting guy. I didn't realize, he grew up in Saudi Arabia and coached abroad and then moved to Wisconsin to be back home. He's got a very interesting path to get to Major League Baseball, but I guess he comes with highly regarded with his work with the San Francisco Giants. Knows Buster Posey very well, so I'm all for it here. I can't sit here like we know like the intricate backgrounds and details of all these members of the coaching staff, but this is just a different blend of backgrounds that are joining the organization. Successful coaches from Detroit, people with experience from Cleveland. Hallberg's case, he's got worldwide experience and also has worked with the San Francisco Giants. people from in-house like Toby Gardenhire, people who began their career here and has absorbed information from all four corners of the country when it comes to pitching, and that's LaTroy. So I like the blend of backgrounds that Derek has assembled for his staff here.
Roy, I know this isn't the biggest news in the world, assembling coaching staff, getting a backup catcher, but does any of it strike you?
I think LaVelle's kind of covered it, but completely. But I would just say a couple of things. I think from a coaching staff standpoint, there's a lot to say about vibe. And you look at the guys, LaTroy Hawkins will be a vibe guy. The bullpen is going to be in good hands, with their bullpen coach, and they're gonna love him, and they're gonna sit and listen to him. He's gonna be the leader of the vibe I think in the coach's room. And Grady Sizemore, I mean, I don't know anything about Grady other than being around him a little bit. I think he's a really good guy. He was a terrific player that was racked by injuries way too much. He would have been a really outstanding player. He was anyway, but I mean, he would have put up the numbers, I think, and people would know him a lot better had he not been injured so much. And so when I think about guys like that are on the coaching staff, unless you're incompetent at what you're asked to do, if you've been around baseball and you know what your job is and you know how to know how to convey it, then the rest of it is just about how you interact with your charges, right? With the guys that you're interacting with. And I look at this coaching staff, and I don't know all of them, but I know Grady Sizemore well enough. I know LaTroy plenty well enough. I think it's going to be a good vibe. And I think that's with these particular Twins players, this roster, I think that's going to be important. And the only other thing I would say about the hitting coach is he took Javi Baez from 100% of the time swinging at sliders 2 feet outside to 80% of the time. That's got to be worth something.
That is definitely worth something. All right, my next question for the gentleman is, what will or should Derek Shelton and this staff do differently than Rocco Baldelli? I'll ask that. First, I want to tell you about the sponsors that make this network and this show possible. Let's start with Onyx Hunt. Have you ever driven past a piece of land and wondered who owns that, or maybe need to know exactly where a property line runs? That's where Onyx Hunt comes in, and it's not just for hunters. There are folks using Onyx for their jobs every day throughout the country, from farmers and ranchers mapping out their fields, wildland firefighters navigating rough terrain, to construction workers needing to know who owns what property. This app offers something for everyone. If you need the best land ownership maps, aerial imagery, and property boundaries in your pocket, Onyx Hunt is the tool for the job. Try it free for 7 days. Download Onyx Hunt in the app or Google Play Store, or visit onyxmaps.com/hunt to get started. We also want to thank Minnesota Masonic Charities.
Today, I want to talk a little bit about the Minnesota Masonic Charities. When you think about the Masons, I get it. You think about the funny hats, those pancake breakfasts, which are phenomenal. My dear friend John Schweitz and I have chatted about this, and it's so much more than that. They've got the Masonic home over in Bloomington. They've got the hospital for the children over at the U of M. They are the largest fraternal organization in terms of charitable needs in our country, and they deserve a ton of recognition. So thank you, Minnesota Masonic Charities, for all you do and for supporting us over here at Talk North, and a special thanks to my good friend John Schweitz.
And here's Talk North star Michael Russo for Clamshell Beach Resorts.
Hey, have you been dreaming of a lake cabin lifestyle with boating, fishing, and family fun in northern Minnesota? Well, lately I've thought a lot about how cool it would be to have a getaway like so many Minnesotans. And if you're like me, you probably think that owning your own lakeside getaway is beyond your budget. Well, if you think lake cabin real estate prices keep going up, well, think again. This is Russo, and I'm here to tell you there is an affordable way to enjoy a cabin lifestyle and all that goes with it. And yes, I said affordable. I founded a Clamshell Beach Resort, which is located on the Whitefish chain of 14 lakes for you and your family to enjoy. Here's how. Clamshell has lake homes that offer deeded fractional ownership, and the keywords there are deeded and fractional. You own it. Imagine having 5 weeks a year to enjoy Clamshell with its beaches, pool, and lodge that's full of kids' activities. Is golf your game? There's a great golf course right across the road. Like winter sports? Well, you can go ice fishing, cross-country skiing, or snowmobiling right out the door at Clamshell. And there's no maintenance, no grass mowing, no snow removal. It's done all for you. And you can own a share of Clamshell Beach Resort at an affordable price. To learn more about ownership opportunities at Clamshell Beach Resort, go to cottagesonwhitefish.com or contact Pat Egan at 612-220-9819. That's cottagesonwhitefish.com or Pat Egan at 612-220-9819.
All right, Roy, let's start with you. Listen, I don't think any of us thought that Rocco was the reason this team didn't win when it didn't win. But the new guy is always going to do something different. What should he do different?
It's really, really hard to say because you're right. It wasn't there anything glaring about what Rocco did or didn't do that caused the Twins to have an awful year. There were a lot of things that went into that, mostly all player performance related, and that's not something a manager can do anything about, except this. And this is what I think Derek will bring. First of all, it'll just be a different personality. The whole personality, the club it should kind of take on the manager personality, and Derek Shelton's personality is different than Rocco's, right? And so I think his personality will infuse the clubhouse a little bit. But what I hope Derek does, and it is, I hope he insists on what the players' performance is going to be based on is what he wants it to be based on. And by that I mean, I'd like to see Derek evaluate the team that goes north of the club out of spring training and say, okay, what have I got? Have I got a Bomba squad? Have I got a hit and run and steal club? Am I in between? Who am I really counting on? What do I need from my hitting coach, for example? What do I need to insist upon in terms of defensive consistency and base running and all those kinds of things? I'd like to see Derek's personality be one of how positive he is, but also insist on, I want the hitters to each one, I want the hitting coach to figure out what each one has to do to be more consistent at the plate and not say, well, this guy's job, he just wants to hit the ball out of the ballpark. So we're going to have to put up with, this many strikeouts or this many dumb at bats because it's great when he hits the ball out of the ballpark. And I'd really like to see him impress upon his hitting coach what his thoughts are about what his guys need to do. And I think that, as I said, the same thing applies to defense, and the same thing applies with, working with Pete Mackey and LaTroy about what the pitchers need to do. So that's the only thing that I can really think of that he could do differently. I don't know. I don't know why Popkins was fired, for example. Did Rocco go to him and say, I don't like the way the guys swing the bat. I want you to do this and this and this. And he, they determined that Popkins wasn't able to deliver what Rocco wanted, and so they let him go. I mean, they obviously, he obviously wasn't the issue either, as going to Toronto with, arguably way better hitters, and everything was fine. So a long-winded way of saying, impose your personality, both, in the clubhouse, with the guys wanting to play for you, but also this is the way we're going to play, and this is the way the coaches are going to coach it, and we're going to insist on that.
Knowing Derek, a little bit about Derek that I do, there's different personalities between him and Rocco. Rocco's kind of Rocco get mad and get angry and lose his temper, but he's mostly kind of a chill, laid back guy. When Shelty was here as a bench coach, he brought a lot of energy into that clubhouse. And I'm thinking that's what's going to rub off on these guys, with him being as the manager. I think they'll probably permeate through the coaching staff as well. I think you'll see them attack their jobs with a little more energy, a little more gusto. I'm not saying that was a bad thing. It was just Rocco's personality, and you can't totally criticize a guy who, managed the bomb squad team in 2019. Obviously, a lot of things Rocco did as manager were the right ones. He ended up being the fall guy here after, having a roster kind of torn down on him the last 2 seasons. So, but I think Derek's going to go about it differently. I think he's got a lot of energy. I think he likes to get people fired up. And, that could also translate to how they play on the field. Especially, it could be a good fit if they definitely are going to embrace more little ball and more running, stealing, putting pressure on defenses. His personality may be a good fit for the type of baseball the Twins are talking about playing, because that's what we've been hearing since the end of last year from Derek Falvey to Derek Shelton, that, you're going to see more action on the bases and maybe some more bunting and maybe some more just attacking defenses that way. And so I think his personality can help with that agenda. So that's what I'm looking for from Derek, and that's what I'm looking for from the coaching staff in 2026.
So the Twins did trade for Eric Orza for the Rays, and he is now kind of the most experienced guy. He pitched pretty well last year, both AAA and the big leagues, decent numbers. Certainly projects to be kind of a middle reliever on a standard in a standard bullpen. We don't know if they're going to fill out the bottom of the rotation, the back end of the bullpen the way you would like them to. They also bring back Justin Topa. So how far away are they from having a legitimate bullpen, Roy? Are we still looking at 4 more arms, 2 more arms? What do you think?
Well, you got to build it from the very back, and who's going to close. I mean, that's in today's game. Obviously, that's the
LaTroy.
That's what's that? LaTroy, yeah. Well, you could do worse. Still, I'm sure. They're a ways away. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that they're a ways away, and I don't know if it's 4 arms. I know they are 2 big arms away, and that is a closer and a really power left-handed reliever. After that, the bullpen gets nothing but stronger. But they're those 2 people away.
Yeah, I agree with Roy. And the tough thing about this too is that the Twins are not going to go out and spend money to bring in a capable reliever, because the price for relievers is going up and up and up. Falvey also is a big proponent, a big believer that bullpens can be volatile from one year to another, which means that a reliever can be awesome one year and just totally tank the next year. So, I think they've always believed that it's not worth making long-term commitments to relievers. I think this thing's going to have to be built from within. I think you're going to see a couple of the starting pitching prospects, those starting pitchers that they've acquired or already have, get converted to relievers, which I'm pretty sure that's probably going to happen with a couple of these guys. And that can help the bullpen. Roy brought up power lefty reliever and closer, and I'm not going to move off this point here. I still think that guy could be Connor Pralin. I really do. I've seen him pitch. He's had some injury issues. He finally got to AAA this year. The slider is legit. It's a legit power slider that has hit like 95 on the gun. He's got a fastball that touches 97. I just think he's equipped to do it. He's kind of like Joan Duran in the sense that he's been unable to build up innings as a starter, which makes him being converted to a reliever, I think, more sensible going forward. And I expect him to have an impact on the Twins bullpen in 2026. He may make the team out of spring training. So Connor Pralin, remember the name. The arm is legitimate. If he stay healthy, I think he has potential of being an impact reliever for that bullpen.
I think they still view him as a dynamic starter, and I think it's going to be somebody else that they end up moving to the bullpen. I think they really think he's got too many pitches, too much stuff, too much potential to be a good starter to immediately put him in the bullpen. Maybe he ends up there, but I think they're going to look at somebody else among the young pitchers to go to the bullpen.
We'll see. I just don't see that he doesn't have the innings that Duran had coming up as a starter. If they want to go that route, that's their prerogative. But man, I just think he's at the point of no return here. He's had multiple Tommy John surgeries. He's finally healthy. And like last year, look at this. He threw 61 innings last year. No, he threw 82 innings last year, and that was by far the most of his minor league career. In 2024, he threw 23 innings. So he went from 21 innings when he first joined the organization, didn't pitch in 2022. In 2023, he threw 6 innings. In 2024, he threw 23, and last year he threw 82. I can't see him being built up to be a starter, but we'll see. He does have an arsenal, definitely does. But we'll see. I'm curious to see how this is going to turn out.
It will be interesting. We're going to get to booze and blues here in a second. The other interesting thing of this offseason, guys, is Luis Arraez is a free agent, and he just appears to be the kind of player you're excited to get, and then you have him a while, and his negatives kind of overwhelm his obvious positives. I'm going to be really interesting to see it's going to be really interesting to see how the market treats him, Roy.
Yeah, I think so too. He's just such an intriguing offensive player. I mean, in the right situation, he is a terrific hitter to have. And he's just a terrific hitter, but in the right lineup, it makes him better and better. I just think it's been established now that he can't play anywhere, and so that just makes it really, really difficult. And so you say, well, just have him be the DH. Yes, but there aren't clubs that are playing in the postseason that have their DH be a 330 guy. A guy hits 330 with no damage. They just don't. They've got guys that are going to thump it, and I think that there's a reason for that. And, again, in the right spot. If you've got thumpers everywhere except for DH, okay, yeah, go ahead and run him out there, but in the DH spot. But it's just really, he's just a tough guy to figure out whether he fits.
Yeah, no doubt about it. One last newsy note. By the way, we're going to take Thanksgiving week off. We'll be back with you in early December. I'm sure there'll be more to talk about then. The Twins are going to play in the field at the Field of Dreams field. And I got to say this, guys. I read Field of Dreams when it first was written by W.P. Kinsella, and I loved the book and thought it was really cool. And then years later, they made a movie out of it. The movie was fine too. But
you mean you're talking about Shoeless Joe?
Yes. Yeah, Shoeless Joe the original book was Field of Dreams,
right? And
then they made the movie out of it, and then it kind of got a new life and became something that like diehard baseball fans just love. Here, I'm going to be a curmudgeon, and I'd say it's just a cornfield. Okay, it's a movie set. It just doesn't get me fired up. But I'm being a curmudgeon. You guys can tell me I'm wrong, LaVelle.
Jim, I don't think you're that far off. I mean, I thought it was great to have the game there once.
Yeah, once is cool.
But now that make it an annual thing, I just think it's overkill. And I think it's lost its luster. It's lost its impact. I just thought just as a one-off, maybe once every 3 or 4 years, maybe once every 5 years, that would be cool. But now they got a minor league team too, a minor league game. The Saints are going to play 2 days before the Twins down in Dyersville, Indiana. So it's not hitting me like it did the first time it happened. And I believe, was it White Sox Yankees the first game?
It was legit. I mean,
yeah,
they've had good games there. They've had good teams there.
Or something. It was really cool, really neat. But it's not. I don't feel the nostalgia. I don't feel the history. I don't feel like the ghosts are talking to me anymore. Now that you have that damn game every year, so maybe I'm a curmudgeon too. I think it's overkill at this point, man. I would rather see them I'd rather see another Speedway game in the middle of a racetrack and take going back to Dyersville.
It will be the most exciting thing to happen in Iowa all year. So if you live in Iowa, I get why you're in favor of it.
Yeah,
a couple of things.
There's more options in that game than Iowa football team the entire year.
From my standpoint, I'm with you guys. It's not only because you don't have the guys walking out of the cornfield and have that that sense of mysticism about baseball, but it's also because it's a real major league game and it's played on a funky field, and I don't like that being that impacting the standings and or the records of teams in any way. I I don't like that. What I'd like to see happen more, if they insist on doing that, then they should have it as a spring training game. As guys, when they break camp. Now you can't do that because Iowa's cold in the wintertime. But I mean, I think it's a celebration game. It's not a league game. I mean, it shouldn't be, in my view. And Jim, I really think that the actual name of the book was Shoeless Joe by Kinsella.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. I think you're right. I think Shoeless Joe was the book, and then the movie was. Yeah, it's been so long since I read it.
The movie was Field of Dreams, and since it was so long since you read it that you not only did you not remember the title, but you also didn't remember there was about that I was mentioned in the book, and it was.
I might have read it before I met you, before I knew you. I'm serious.
You might have, and it was cute because it's when the main character goes to Boston, in search of J.D. Salinger, and he goes to a game at Fenway, and he was a Twins fan because and he said so he once said the Twins happened to be in town. And he says, so I'm at Fenway, and he said the game gets out of hand early. Smalley hits a home run, and Landreau then hits a home run, and so he had me and some of my teammates, and there's a wonderful passage in there about Wilfong making a terrific play in the hole, and I forget. I think Craig Cusick was playing first, and he talked about the communication and the play between the pitcher and the first baseman and the second baseman, and it was a really cool little analysis or talk about the romance and mysticism of baseball. Just the little things that happen in a game that, if you know the game, is really important and really beautiful to watch. And he did a great job describing it. So I really, really enjoyed the book for all the regular reasons, and because my teammates and I were in it, and he did a really great job with that.
I'm sure he mentioned me and LaVelle too, and it just got cut out by the editor.
He probably did. I think he mentioned something about his two journalistic heroes as he was growing up.
By the way, I looked it up. That book came out September of '96. I think I read it in '96. So that's why I don't remember them mentioning you, is because I didn't know you back then. I knew who you were, of course, but September of 1996, I was actually, I was covering the Twins. Were you doing anything with the Twins? 96? You probably were, weren't you?
96, I think. I did a couple of fill-in broadcast, color broadcasts, late 90s, and then we actually started. You'll remember this. We actually started the pregame show, the pregame postgame show. You and I did some pregame shows early on from the Metrodome. Just did some. Here's Roy and Jim yakking about stuff, and that grew into, what was for a while a really cool pregame show that I was very much involved in. But yeah, it was right around that time, a little bit later, maybe than '96 when we started the pregame stuff, but it was pretty close to there.
Yeah. That's cool stuff. All right, good. Well, I do recommend the book, by the way. The movie, they did a good job with the movie, but the book's beautiful.
The book is beautiful. It really is. People really should read Shoeless Joe by W.P. Kinsella. It's not just a baseball book, but the part of it, the part that comes shining through about baseball is the essence of baseball, and it's really cool.
Yes. Okay, we're not going to do Booze and Blues today. We're going to do a Booze and Blues assignment. As we near the holidays, I want you guys to think about your favorite non-traditional holiday song. Rock, pop, something, a cover, whatever. Something, something from the rock or pop world or blues, not Andy Williams. And so come up with something that kind of rocks a little bit that you like listening to this time of the year. For today, for Roy Smalley, LaVelle Neal, I'm Jim Souhan. We will talk to you in early December. We appreciate you listening. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.